Welcome to Christian Nutrition Films, the show where we review Christian films with an in-depth look. And by we, I mean just me. The Left Behind series starring Kirk Cameron is probably what you think of when you think of the first, big Christian apocalyptic thriller movie. But in all actuality, it's not. Actually, that title goes to The Omega Code, at least in my opinion. I know there were Christian apocalyptic thrillers before this movie, but this was the first big one. And also, it's not just a movie, but a miracle. The Omega Code was released in October of 1999 to theaters, and it had a whopping budget of $8 million. Now, in today's standards, that's around $11.5 million. So that's a pretty big budget for a Christian film. It did go on to become a modest success at the box office, and it did spawn a sequel which also went into theaters. That's more than Left Behind can say. I recall watching the first one when I was younger, but it must have been only once, because I remember liking the second one a lot more.
Remember Chewbacca again? Oh, I love to remember Chewbacca.
And really, I only remember like one scene from the second movie, so man, it's been a while. So is this post-apocalyptic thriller made by the Trinity Broadcast Network any good? Or was it just cashing in on Left Behind's success, That's probably not what it was. 1999, the middle of Left Behind being huge. No, probably wasn't capitalizing on that at all. Anyways, let's review the Omega Code. The Bible Code. I remember hearing about this back when I was a kid, but truthfully, I didn't know much about it until researching for this review.
Crisscrossing the Torah is a code of hidden words and phrases that not only reveals our past and present, but foretells our future. After removing all of the spaces and punctuation, hidden words are discovered by skipping equal numbers of letters, like a giant crossword puzzle.
That's essentially the very basics, and it's how the film explains it to you in the beginning. So we'll just leave it at that. If you want to know more, look it up yourself. That seems like a very loose translation of what Daniel in Revelation says, almost like they're cherry picking something out of context for the plot of their film. Nothing screams 90s more than a company named Generacia. How does anyone even say that? So the movie starts off with the Jewish guy, Rabbi Aaron Rostenberg, looking over some ancient text, and a bad guy disguised as a Jewish man looking to steal that text. Murder in a Christian film? Oh, the 90s really were an extreme time.
Bond. James Bond.
Evil fake Jewish guy takes the now deceased Jewish guy's ancient guy's notebook along with his Bible Code program CD and tries to go for a smooth, stealthy escape.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Who are these guys? Are they magic? No, they actually aren't magic. In fact, I highly suspect they are the two prophets who many believe will be Moses and Elijah. The Bible says will return for the tribulation. Now, I say Moses and Elijah, that's just suspected. We know for a fact there'll be two prophets, which makes me wonder if we are already in the tribulation and the film has yet to tell us. Anyways, they tell the evil man to tell his master they have arrived. Who is his master? Well, this is going to be a big budget B movie, isn't it? Oh, it totally is, and I'm prepared. Bring it on. This opening scene and title card totally have me hooked. Let's do this.
Please welcome Dr. Dylan Lane.
Dr. Gillian Lane. This goofball better be the protagonist if we're going to fully embrace the silliness of this film's premise.
Very uncharacteristic for a doctorate in both world religion and mythology from Cambridge University, you know.
Well, they didn't know what to do with me either.
Oh, this goofball is our protagonist. Awesome! And from now on, he will be known as Dr. Goofball.
Like I say in my seminars, what creates an extraordinary life is an extraordinary mindset.
If you'll do this, I believe and declare you're going to live confident, secure, overcoming obstacles, rising higher, and becoming everything He's created you to be.
Via the talk show, we find out that Dr. Goofball is an expert on the Bible code and yet doesn't believe in the actual Bible, as in it's a load of garbage, yet believes the Bible code that knows the future. It doesn't make any sense. Dr. Goofball really is a strange fellow.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so.
Look at that smile. Are we sure this smug son of a gun isn't actually the antagonist?
Hitler, the Kennedy assassinations, all encoded. Isaac Newton spent the last 10 years of his life studying the Bible code.
I went and looked this up, and from what I gathered, that was completely made up about Isaac Newton. I can't find anything about it online, so the film's making that up like they cherry pick stuff from the Bible so that their premise of their movie makes sense. Anyways, just know that that isn't a fact.
Most amazingly, in the book of Daniel, an angel tells him to seal up the book until the end of days. That the Bible was actually a holographic computer program.
What did I tell you guys? This is the kind of theology this movie's basing itself on. Just wow. In fact, let's just make it safe to assume that most of what this film's going to tell you isn't factual. Dr. Goofball has seemingly random flashbacks or something while talking to the talk show host. Along the way, he reveals he doesn't believe in God since his mom died when he was only 10 years old. Infallible logic for sure. Oh wait, are we sure this isn't going to go the way of God's not dead and he's going to get hit by a car at the end of the movie and be like, yes, I do believe in God now. Yeah. Your top of the line PC in 1999 is great and all, but can it run Crysis?
Последней части кода не хватает. Конечно, последней страницы тоже.
Who is he talking to? The bad guy from Inspector Gadget? Anyone who has done any research on the tribulation knows exactly where this is headed. This guy was probably talking to the future Antichrist, and therefore the tribulation hasn't actually already started. I'm curious to see what they're going to do for the rapture scene in this film. Alexander Stone is given the United Nations Humanitarian Award and subsequently confirms to the audience that he is likely the Antichrist. His name is a bit too basic for me, as I prefer Nikolai Carpathia, but what are you going to do? Incidentally, the talk show host is there as well, because why not?
Who's his friend?
Oh, you mean Dominic. He is one of Stone's top aides. A bit odd for sure. I believe he used to be some kind of a priest.
Yeah, well, if I were Stone, I'd watch my back. You better watch your butt, man. Okay.
Ah, brilliant.
A murder and a broken bra strap in a Christian film? Oh man, they're really pushing their luck here. This certainly isn't a clean film. Well, that was a crazy way to transition the film. So Dr. Goofball gets a life lesson from his older friend back in the States who tells him not to give up on his marriage and stick it out. I was half expecting him to give Mr. Goofball the Love Dare book from Fireproof, but I forgot it's 1999. We then see Dr. Goofball try to make good with his wife and daughter and is seemingly given a second chance by them both. We don't dwell on that too long though, as Alexander Stone invites Dr. Goofball to his castle when this happens.
Дом Изаака. Синагога. Дом Исмаила. Мечеть, наверное. Скорее всего, дом судьбы.
Murder, bra straps, and smoking in a Christian film? Oh man, if only a company would rise out of the ashes of Omega Code and make a pure and clean company that only makes pure and clean Christian films. We then see some secret agents.
Secret agent man, secret agent man.
Yes, we see some secret agents blow up the Dome of the Rock at the request of, well, at this point I'm just going to say it, he's the Antichrist.
Into its 7th day, both Israel and Palestine are still denying any involvement in last week's explosion. EU Chairman Alexander has been holding talks with both sides for the last 3 days, but little progress has been made.
If only some sort of peace treaty would be signed.
I am very pleased and proud to announce a 7-year peace treaty.
Yeah, that one works. You know, once this is signed, the 7-year tribulation has officially started. So when's the rapture going to happen? I wonder if TBN actually has the stance of like a mid-trip rapture or a post-trip rapture, or maybe no rapture. That's pretty ballsy if they do that one.
Are you going back to your place tonight? Or you could stay here. We could pretend like we're newlyweds again.
Murder, broken bra straps, smoking, exploding buildings, and implied honeymoon sex. Oh Lord Jesus, please come rapture us all now. I was actually a bit scared there. I almost was like afraid that if I said that it would happen like in the middle of the review. It didn't, obviously. Dr. Goofball passes on newlywed sex and goes back overseas to see Alexander Stone.
We need an archetypal figure to embody the message. Dr. Martin Luther King. Gandhi. A new Caesar.
This whole scene reeks of like evil minds coming together.
I'm going to let you in on something to which even fewer people are yet privy.
This is magnificently over the top.
The bombings, the food shortages, the epidemics, all connected.
We get the warhead and we hold the world ransom for $1 million.
Oh, so that's where the inspiration for that worship song came from. I knew it. I knew it was from the, Christian-themed Apocalypse 1999 film, The Omega Code. So the nerdy computer guy who smokes calls Dr. Goofball and tells him to meet him. It is urgent.
And then he said, the truth shall set you free. Probably just a wacko.
I'm pretty sure that's how Christians think non-Christians think about things we say. Two murders, broken bra strap, smoking, exploding buildings, and implied honeymoon sex, and we still have an hour to go? I don't know how much more I can take. I need to guard my heart.
Listen to me carefully. Your life is in danger.
Okay, where's the camera? Stone put you up to this, right?
Gillen, I am serious. Look, I don't understand any of this, but I have a message for you from those prophets.
Be a friend, say your prayers. Heaven loves a heart that cares. That is why I've come to share a message from the Lord.
To follow the pages of blood.
You sure it wasn't the butler did it in the conservatory with a candlestick?
Oh man, Dr. Goofball is hilarious. Alexander Stone. You know what? Let's just call him the Antichrist. The Antichrist has united the world and has cut up the world into 10 factions instead of a bunch of different countries. We then cut to 1 year later, keep that in mind as this is very important because not but 2 seconds later, it says,
Chairman Alexander and Dr. Lane will be returning to Rome this evening after celebrating the 3-year anniversary of the Middle East Treaty here in Geneva.
This timeline is very confusing. Let's just leave it at that.
Let the hate flow through you.
They said,
Use the Force, Luke.
Dr. Goofball follows the pages of blood right into the Antichrist's evil lair.
If fate assigns us our roles and we don't fulfill them, are we damned for it?
Does this count as cussing?
If Adolf Hitler was assigned his role and he played it out perfectly to the end, was he damned for his obedience?
Who assigned him this role? Your question has major holes in it. Dr. Goofball looks through the notebook of pages that the Bible code has been pumping out, and apparently with the push of a key, phase 2 of the tribulation will start. Yeah, it's just that simple. Just hit a key on the keyboard. Who knew? Who knew that's how the tribulation worked?
Initiate phase 2, and it's prophesied
that the world will lay at your feet.
Ah, yes, but will it be of my own free will or because I've become the beast?
The music is truly perfect for an over-the-top Christian B movie. Anyways, the Antichrist sees on his security cameras that Dr. Goofball is in his evil lair. This leads to this scene.
I said, leave us.
You said I would be the prophet.
So, yeah, that just happened. The Antichrist is shot in the head, and on the way to the ground, initiates phase 2 of the tribulation. For anyone who has read the Bible and or the Left Behind books, hopefully both and not just Left Behind books, knows that this means that 3 days later, Alexander Stone will be incarnated by the devil and rise back up, like Christ did, coming back from the grave. Then essentially Satan rules the world for the last 3.5 years. The Omega Code kind of gets that right. Alexander Stone is taken over by Satan, at least it's implied, but he comes back to life basically the same night as he was shot. Dr. Goofball is, of course, pegged as the guy who shot the Antichrist and therefore has to make the film devolve into a long chase scene.
Painful.
So painful,
Yet sweet.
Is this not one of the greatest B movies ever? The dialogue, the look of shock, the music, all of it makes it seem like they're dead serious about everything in this film. Now, don't get me wrong, I agree that there will be a 7-year tribulation and that there will be an Antichrist, but it's just the way they're portraying all of this in this film is so far off base. For me, this film completely derailed when it said 1 year later, but then the TV said it's been like 3 years. It's confusing, just like... When is time jumping in this film? I have no idea. And it gets worse. Oh yes, it gets worse.
You're the meaning in my life. You're the inspiration. You bring feeling to my life.
What was it like, sir? Do you remember anything?
I heard a voice whisper, Alexander.
And everyone had to learn the Macarena. But the only music was in the all-Lady Gaga station. And we were forced to watch The View. All the humanity.
Who better to heal our wounded world than a man who has himself been mortally wounded and yet has miraculously risen again?
Giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again.
Hold on there, newsboys. I'm pretty sure this is a whole different type of born again. The two prophets tell Dr. Goofball and his fair lady how all this was foretold in the Bible. They also tell him what to expect now that the Antichrist is essentially Satan himself.
The truth is staring you in the face. All you need is the faith of a child to accept it.
My childhood was ripped away from me, so I don't know exactly what that is.
Calm down there, Dr. Goofball. Not everything has to be taken so literally.
You keep looking for something to fill a void in your soul that only God can fill.
This is ridiculous.
Idiot.
The bad guys track down where Dr. Goofball has been hiding out via his internet usage. That's pretty advanced for 1999. And the long chase scene begins. Dr. Goofball does escape and goes to his wife's home. She secretly warns him about the house being bugged, and he takes advantage of this by feeding the bad guys some false information. Dr. Goofball immediately dumps his family off with some friends in a cabin in the woods, and they're never to be seen again in this film. He then chooses to hide out with his friend, the older one who tried helping with his marriage earlier, but didn't have a copy of prior proof to show him, which is probably why Dr. Goofball left his family in a cabin in the woods.
I just received your message. Keep laying there. My men are moments away.
Oh no, your friend just snitched on you, and snitches get stitches. It's true because it rhymes, obviously. Dr. Goofball goes on the run, quite literally, until...
It's okay. It's just a bad dream.
So I guess from the time of him walking off and pouting like a teenage girl to right now, none of that really happened? Why did we watch 12 minutes of a dream then? The prophets again speak to Dr. Goofball, and they give him the final code in an envelope and say that they are off to meet their destiny. You would think at this point in the film Dr. Goofball would be saved, but no. I guess they're holding that off until the end or something.
They gave you the final code.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
I knew they would. Hand it over.
Everyone is betraying him. I bet his dream was real and she lied to him in order to use him as bait to get the code. Sneaky, sneaky woman.
Even Satan comes as an angel of light.
Hey, now let the Mormons think that it was God who visited Joseph Smith and not Satan. No need for those cheap shots there, Omega Code. Oh wait, I'm the only one who interpreted it like that? My bad.
I have taken the next step in our evolution. I have become king and God!
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
I want to point out that at this point in the film, we're an hour and 20 minutes into an hour and 40 minutes long movie, and that counts the credits in that runtime. So I'm guessing in the sequel, it's going to be the second half of the tribulation, which I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. That makes sense. So this movie's going to end at the mid-trib point, I guess.
How you have fallen from heaven, Lucifer, son of the morning!
Oh great, the prophets are on a suicide mission. What did I tell you? Suicide mission.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
And by the way, I'm done counting all the stuff that's been happening in this film. There's just too much. Thank goodness that Pureflix came up. Thank goodness that Pureflix is in control of the Christian movie market now. We see Dr. Goofball get thrown in jail, and we hear the Antichrist tell his military leaders how he wants Israel bombed and nuked. Since the movie is about to end and somehow the world leaders find out about the Antichrist using the Bible code program and are quite annoyed by this new information, so obviously the Antichrist just has them killed, the traitor woman finally delivers the final Bible code.
When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
He's tricked you.
That's impossible. He couldn't have.
Oh, so now you're defending him.
No!
I think that you and I had better go and have a little chat with him.
Oh no! Dr. Goofball and her are going to be killed!
We can't have the last prophecy without the final code.
What is it?
Yeah, his perfect jawline makes me want to deck him too. Hey, taxi!
Something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
God. Jesus save me.
Just in the nick of time, the film is about to end. I do mean just in the nick of time, as the prophets are breathed new life back into them, which allows Dr. Goofball to escape his completely unguarded medieval cell.
Use the Force, Luke.
Wow, I don't recall the Bible telling us that prophets had Force-like powers. That's pretty scary. It's also pretty awesome. VeggieTales needs to go back and redo the Jonah movie because I feel like the movie would play it a little bit different if Jonah had Force powers.
Call it off, so help me God.
God? I'm the God of this world. And you could have been here with me, couldn't he, my love? Yes, my Trinity.
Who talks like this? It just makes me laugh thinking about how over the top and yet at the same time this movie is super serious about itself.
I was Judas, betraying Christ to be crucified. I was Hitler, leading millions to the slaughter. And I was the drunken driver who killed your mother.
Now you made it personal. Prepare to be shot. Again.
I was also the one who stopped a bullet for you. Yes. I died so that...
So you don't have to.
Dr. Goofball gives them the final Bible code when all of a sudden... what is going on? Are they getting nuked? hold on a second. Is this what I think this is? Wow, they seriously just ended the 7-year tribulation not but 2 seconds after the midway point of the tribulation. It's almost as if the Omega Code treated 7 years as 3.5 years. Like, that's... What? It's like they just ran out of money and they're like, guys, we gotta finish up this film now. And they're like, we're only like halfway through. And they're like, no, dude, we gotta wrap it up. But whatever, that was the Omega Code then, I guess. What the heck's in the sequel then? The Omega Code was a theological mess of a film that is best enjoyed by those of you who enjoy bad B films that take themselves super seriously. For me and others who do enjoy this type of film, go ahead and check it out. However, I rate movies for the general public. I don't rate movies for the niche audiences that love a certain genre and stuff. So for the general audiences and for everyone, I give this film a burn it. I really don't want to. I want to give it a watch it, but to say this film is as good as Heavenbound, whew, not even close. It's really just an over-the-top bad B movie. And for that, I give it a burn it. But if you're into that kind of film, or this review like makes you interested, watch it. It's worth watching at least once if you're into this kind of thing. And apparently the sequel has a $20 million budget. What? That's bringing out the big guns for a Christian film. And honestly, I'm not sure what I'm reviewing next month, as usual, but we're definitely gonna have to review the sequel to this movie. It deserves it. Anyways, remember that God made you special and he loves you very much. Bye.